So the bodies of our fallen Air Canada pilots have arrived home in Canada, and many of their colleagues in the aviation industry paid their respects as the pilots' remains drove by. We all know that this is a situation that shouldn't have happened and it didn't need to happen. Mistakes were made and more information is coming out every day. But did you know there was another close call between a jet and a helicopter in California? And this story is kind of flying under the radar. But in this video, I'm going to talk about whether or not the US aviation industry is actually safe. Because the US officials will say it's perfectly fine. But one accident is one accident too much. And all of these close calls that are happening, one of these days we're going to have another incident. So I want to start off this video with a report out of Montreal that talks about the solidarity within the Montreal aviation industry and paying their respects to the Air Canada pilot.
Good evening. An honor guard of airline personnel greeted the body of fallen pilot Antoine Forêt this evening at Trudeau Airport. It was a somber scene as about 200 airline personnel, including pilots and flight attendants from various airlines, gathered in the cold to greet Forêt's remains. His family members accompanied him back from New York City. The young Air Canada pilot and another, Mackenzie Gunther, were both killed on Sunday when the plane they were landing crashed into a rescue vehicle on a runway at LaGuardia Airport. Tonight, the president and vice president of the Airline Pilots Association paid tribute to their fallen colleagues.
Have to go through this. So today we mourn, and tomorrow the work begins of making aviation in Canada ever safer. It must be the promise in Canada that when a pilot leaves to work, or when anyone leaves to travel by air, that they come home alive. And our work begins tomorrow to live up to that promise.
Canadian and U.S. air safety officials are working together to determine what went wrong.
Now, I think it's going to take a while for the investigation to complete. But from what we know so far, it sounds like the air traffic controller was doing multiple jobs. So if it is confirmed to be the case, that he was doing ground control as well as tower control, personally, I wouldn't blame the air traffic controller. But that doesn't change anything for the pilot, or their families, or everyone else that was involved. Now, I have a few clips from air traffic controllers that I do want to share with everyone. And to be honest, I got a little bit emotional hearing them. What you're going to hear is a conversation between the air traffic controller and the pilots who brought home the remains of the Air Canada pilot.
Cross 32 at Charlie, apron under discretion of Bravo for Jazz 7831. Thank you, sir.
And Jazz 7831, on behalf of the unit, would like to convey our condolences.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate it.
Now, I know for some, it's going to be tough to watch that, and we're going to get emotional because of the situation. Because one thing we know is that it didn't have to happen. But at the same time as well, I also don't blame the air traffic controller. You can agree or disagree with me if you want. I don't care. It's up to you. But this next clip I'm going to show you is a conversation between an air traffic controller at LaGuardia and an Air Canada pilot. This is after the incident.
Ground Jazz 460.
Jazz 460, go ahead.
I just wanted to say our thoughts are with your colleague that was working that day. We're all hoping he's okay.
Jazz 460, thank you for that. I'll pass it along, and same for you guys. You know, we're here for everybody. You know, to tighten the community.
Yes, sir. All right, thanks for that, and thanks.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys. It means a lot.
Likewise.
Now, I really want to show this conversation to you because it really shows the respect that each side has for each other. On one side, you have an Air Canada pilot checking in and making sure that the air traffic controller that caused the accident is actually okay. And on the other side, you got the air traffic controllers telling Air Canada that they send their condolences. You can tell just by this conversation how tight-knit of a community it is. I mean, the guy even said it himself. I'm sure these air traffic controllers and pilots talk to each other on a daily basis. But like I said, I don't blame the air traffic controller, to be honest. I mean, that's just my opinion. And to be honest, I actually feel bad for the guy. But who I do hold accountable for all this are the government officials who are actually responsible for airport safety. And I'm not just talking about the Orange Guy administration. We have had incidents under the Biden administration as well. But one thing that we do know is that there is a shortage of air traffic controller staff. And if staff are doing multiple jobs, accidents are going to happen. And to be honest, the staff is not to blame. But this incident at LaGuardia as well as the one last year in Washington, D.C. They didn't have to happen. And in the next report, I'm going to show you another close call that happened, even after the incident at LaGuardia. But before I go into that report, I would like to thank one of our Discord viewers, named Statue, who posted this photo of Kitty Vidi? Oh my god. I was chatting with Statue in the Discord server, and the person told me to say Kitty Vidi. That's how I'm supposed to say it. So hopefully I said it right. But thank you for posting this in the Discord server and sharing it with the community. Oh, and for those who are keeping track of where the co-host is on the screen, I actually created another version of the co-host, and this one more reflects what she looks like. She has a calico cat, and she does have short legs as well. So hopefully you guys have fun spotting her in future backdrops. Okay, let's move on to the next report that talks about the close call in California.
Breaking headline at this hour, we have just learned of a harrowing close call. Just days after that deadly crash at LaGuardia, the passenger jet and a fire truck, there's news just coming in tonight of a packed United flight this time and a military Black Hawk in its path. The air traffic controller can be heard saying, "This is not good." Here's Trevor Alt now.
Now, I just want to step in here before they actually get into the report. This is not even a week after the incident at LaGuardia. And let's not forget about that incident that happened last year in Washington, D.C., where a helicopter and a plane did collide, killing 67 people. But when you're traveling, you're trusting that the airport authority as well as the government are making sure that all the safety precautions are met. But with things like this happening, is anybody confident right now in flying in the US? I know there are thousands of flights a day flying all over the United States, and 99.99% are going to be okay. But it only takes one flight and one mistake to make all of this show up in the news again.
Just days after that horrific and deadly crash at LaGuardia Airport, that passenger jet slamming into a fire truck on the runway, tonight there's news of a dangerous close call in Southern California. A military Black Hawk helicopter crossing in front of a packed passenger plane as it attempted to land. Listen to the concern of air traffic controllers when they realized what happened.
We're going to be addressing that because that was not good.
Authorities say a United Airlines flight with 168 passengers and crew on board was on final approach just moments from landing at John Wayne Airport near Los Angeles when the two aircraft came so close it triggered the plane's anti-collision alert system.
The alarm that the United jet got in its cockpit was the most serious alarm possible. So it told that United jet, you need to level off right now or you're going to hit that helicopter.
So now that you know the details, what are your thoughts on this? Because this is a bit of a different situation than the one that happened at LaGuardia, and even different than the one in Washington, D.C. Why? Because this one would have happened over a residential area, meaning that people below would be at risk of fallen debris. The one in Washington, D.C., I think the plane landed in a river. So I guess my question is, do you guys feel safe flying in the United States? And I'm not trying to fearmonger here. I'm just addressing the current safety issues that are happening in the United States. And whether you're an international traveler or even a U.S. domestic traveler, you guys deserve to have the proper safety precautions met.
United says the jet pilots saw the chopper, immediately leveling the aircraft to avoid it after the alert. Air traffic control had warned the pilots beforehand to watch out for traffic, but afterward asked those pilots what happened.
United 589, just want to clarify here, did you get just a traffic call reference to helicopter, or did they restrict your altitude or anything?
This close call comes just over a year after a Black Hawk military helicopter collided with an American Airlines flight over the Potomac, killing 67 people. And just days after that collision at LaGuardia's runway, where an early report is raising concerns about air traffic controller staffing, new NTSB video shows the mangled wreckage, investigators combing through metal and wires, and they're also noting that fire truck's lack of transponders that in this case would have allowed the controllers to know where it was before the disaster.
And David, as for this most recent close call here in Southern California, the NTSB says they are aware of this incident and the FAA is investigating. David.
So my first question is, how many other fire trucks in the United States don't have that transponder that probably would have prevented the incident at LaGuardia? Or are there any other safety devices or procedures or anything that are missing right now? Or are the safety devices and transponders, are they all working? I mean, this is kind of basic stuff in operations. But I do think the US citizens and international travelers that are still deciding to go to the US, they deserve to know that all the safety procedures and measures are all up to date. I do hope something comes out of this in the United States, I mean, for everybody's safety. But my guess and my gut feeling is that this is going to be swept under the rug and it's going to be forgotten about in a couple of weeks. But I guess there's some good news that's coming out of the US aviation industry. Looks like TSA workers are going to get paid again. I'm going to play this for my US viewers.
Partial government shutdown, lawmakers working overnight to fund the Department of Homeland Security.
ABC's Nicole D'Antonio explains what this could mean for all of those unpaid TSA workers and long airport security lines.
This morning, relief may finally be in sight for airport workers and travelers. Overnight, lawmakers getting one step closer to passing a bill that will fund the Department of Homeland Security. Senators in an overnight Senate session approving a funding package that includes everything except ICE and parts of Customs and Border Protection. The bill now heads to the House for approval. It comes as President Trump said he would sign an executive order to pay TSA officers for the first time in weeks.
Well, I guess it's the end of all these TikTok videos of long lines. But I am glad that the TSA agents are finally going to be paid. But I guess my question is ICE going to stay at the airport or are they going to leave? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
TSA workers have been calling out sick in record numbers, triggering some of the highest wait times in TSA history. In Houston, wait times extending more than 4 hours.
I just feel like it's unacceptable. Like, it should not be happening.
The Senate agreement largely gives Democrats what they wanted, no funding for ICE and parts of Customs and Border Protection, but lacks the bigger reforms they wanted, like requiring judicial warrants or requiring agents to unmask. And the House is expected to take up the funding package later today. If approved, it goes to the president for his signature.
So like I said, at least it's progress. But what I'm concerned about is that in 2 weeks, nobody's going to be talking about TSA, and nobody's going to be talking about airport safety. And just like the last time there was a crash in Washington, D.C., or the last government shutdown, things died off until these latest incidents happened. Now, some of you might be saying, hey, GTL, who cares? You're not in the US. Yeah, I know. But if you're flying to Mexico, you're flying anywhere around the United States, or you have to fly over the United States to get your destination, you're still going to be handled by air traffic control. So whether we like it or not, we're all intertwined and connected in some sort of way. All right, that's all I got for today's video. And I hope anyone flying in the US, stay safe. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international point of view, without the US media bias, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. That way you'll be notified of my future videos. And if you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that are going to show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.